I can hardly believe it's Friday again. Happy Friday, happy Pi Day, happy drama. One of these days I'll settle on something. Well, I see nothing. There it is. Okay. All is well. And good afternoon, good evening, good morning to everyone. Welcome to another episode of Pi Day Friday. Chocolate pudding on a Sunday afternoon. I suppose. I never figures pudding as a hot day thing. That's something you have in the evening after dinner. You're allowed to eat at on the sofa, watching TV or football. Football. Hey, it's football season, and I know, 3-4 out of 10 of you don't care, but it's going for us. I got things to do, and I'm involved in the season this year, so there'll be football. Hang on, throat's just a little scratchy. It'll pass. There we go. Hey, well, welcome to Pi Day Friday. It is Pi Day Friday. This is Drama, Dave Rush, Ask Me Anything, and Scott. I am Dave Rush. I'm the senior instructor for Total Seminars and resident Pi specialist. I can't call myself a Pi guru. I'm functional. I know a little bit more about it than the average guy, but I run into people all the time who will ask me a question, or, hey, have you done this? And head explodes. Done what? I don't even know what those words mean, much less what you've accomplished there. But we know enough about this stuff that we can do some things, and we can use Raspberry Pis to foster our learning as we pursue CompTIA certifications, technical knowledge, and just about anything. And so today is Dramas. Scott Jernigan is here. He is the senior editor for Total Seminars, author, co-author, musician, and part-time heart surgeon. I believe he was just doing heart surgery in his backyard this week. I know that because I got a call from, the AMA and some officers who wanted to know more information. But Scott, get the word, put away the stuff. If that's a problem, you may be legal and totally able to do this stuff, but if you're skirting the edges a little bit there, do let me know. So Scott's working the back channel right now. He's very, very close, he and Mike, into completing the N10008 new Network Plus book. The lessons have been shot and they're in editing, a few weeks of post-production on those, and they'll wind their way up to Udemy and our website and the various other platforms on which we provide them. And long about that time, everybody will start working on other projects. They've been kind of alluded to, but nobody's making any official announcements, and I'm not in a position to do that, though I do have a very cool official announcement today in the first hour. So hang out with me here. We got good stuff going on. I have an official announcement. This is an Ask Me Anything. You can ask me anything. You can ask Scott anything. We prefer technology. Our bailiwick is CompTIA certifications, A+, Net Plus, Security Plus, IT Fundamentals Plus, and the other ones. But of course, our goal and our focus and our bailiwick here is using Raspberry Pis. Got two very cool projects today. One of them is just kind of a small part of the other, but it's going to lead us into a whole show on, let's call it a scheduler for now, because Windows has a task scheduler, right? Well, they didn't invent this game. They just do it different, sometimes better, certainly more graphical. And so we're going to play around with the scheduler. What else have I got here? So ask questions of myself on the YouTube chat feed, ask questions of Scott. And if you're not watching this live and you would like to ask questions, you can do that. You wouldn't be the first ones and you won't be the last. We'd love for you to contact us by any other means. And let me give you one in particular here. This one looks like a good one. Do that. You can find myself or Scott or even Mike Myers himself. If you want to communicate directly with him, you can do that. My name is Dave Rush and I work at Total Seminars. Therefore, I am Dave R at totalsem.com. You can also catch me at my personal email, drushtx@yahoo. You can talk with Scott. His name is Scott Jernigan. He works at Total Seminars. Hey, guess what? scottj@totalsem.com. And then, of course, our boss and president and head instructor and head writer and not surgeon. I don't believe he does surgery. However, I have seen him construct streets, go out there and rip up the old ones and grade up the new ones and pour that concrete and lay that asphalt. He is Michael Myers. So Michael M, and he works for Total Seminars. So Michael M at Total Seminar will get you in touch. And there's some other methods by which you can contact us here. Pause your screen if you haven't seen this. I'm going to not read it to you. I'm just going to close that up and you can catch it any other way. You can just find us going by the Total Sem, one more time, one word, Total Sem website. And there's contact information there. Pardon. And if you're really convincing, we might even set up some kind of person-to-person communication. I did one a little over a week ago with a gent where we wound up doing a Zoom session to talk about how to be a presenter and things like that. And I offered my meager skills and opinions in that. Hey, so we're here to advance technical learning while isolated during the COVID crisis. This is the 60th drama. Kind of cool. I like that. I like round numbers. And as always, many thanks to Mike Myers for letting me use this time and his platform to do these. We are very appreciative that you come to and learn about these things. We do this every Friday, 2 o'clock Central Time. I think we're not too far away from switching back to regular Central Time instead of, I think we're on Central Daylights, but whatever it is, it's always 2 o'clock Central Time, either Central Standard or Central Daylight. And I kill, give or take, 2 hours. We usually spend about the first hour talking, answering questions, doing news, trips and traps, things like that. And then the second hour, we do devote to the project. And if we get the project done early, we certainly will today, then we'll open it up for more questions and have more fun. Mike Myers also does a show on this channel twice a week, 2 o'clock, very same place. Mike Myers AMA, whatever it is. And we encourage you to join him. And he's not Raspberry Pi focused. He is just CompTIA focused and technology focused. Takes your question on just about anything. No religion, no politics. But other than that, we throw the doors wide open. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat. Hey, it's busy. That means I got to see this screen as well. See what's going on here. Yeah, you go there, you go there. Cool. If you're not watching live chat, instead of top chat, use the 3 little vertical dots, the kebab there. You can pop out the chat. We have to do it. May not be necessary for you. Toggle timestamps while you're there. And make sure on the left-hand side of the chat screen, you set live chat because YouTube filters out things that it thinks humans should filter out. And sometimes some people's posts get missed. If you do post things that aren't supposed to be there, that's Scott's other main job. He's got the ban hammer and uses it not only judiciously, but massively. So that's kind of an odd thing. I'm looking at messages here and looking at the first message at 5:35 a.m. my time from Tullowit, who posted a lorem ipso message. Okay. Scott Tullowit, as many of you know, is in Hawaii. So 5:30 my time, he was up either very, very late or up super very early. I know the answer to that one. I saw it over on Discord, but welcome. And then he's in again after no doubt he took a good nap and poked in at 1:49. Aaron Harding is here. Good morning. Somebody tell me you get that. Good morning. And kudos to anybody who knows where that comes from. Jason Helms is here, getting ready to start the new gig. And after the weekend, you get your last weekend of freedom and then time to start up. And yes, Jason, I didn't answer the post you put on Discord. I shared Tolowitz's experience with first techno job. I was nervous and made horrible, terrible mistakes. Let me tell you one. Jason's about to start this new job, and it's technical. It's his first technical job. And so he's just wondering how the rest of us felt about our first technical job. So I'm going to tell you about my first technical job. It's not my first. I guess it's, wow, it's my third, but it was very different than anything that I ever done in the past. This was going to be a travel training job. I had done training kind of sort of travel-y, but this was different. And so I hadn't traveled much. Am I backward on this? Yeah, I am. This was my first travel job. And so I was completely new at it, and I had to go to Chicago to meet with my boss, my new boss, and he was going to show me the ropes, and we were going to go out on the road together for a week or two and learn the ropes. And so I overpacked. Oh my gosh, did I overpack? I had a suitcase and a suit bag and multiple suits and all kinds of things. And he picks me up at the airport in his new pickup truck, and I tossed my suitcase in the back, and I tossed my suit bag with that nice metal hook hanger on it into the back seat, and it was hanging out. So I jerked it in, and that hook caught on his upholstery and just ripped the seat cover off of the foam. And I felt so bad for the whole time that I was with him, and I got to buy this guy a new thing, and the job pays peanuts. I can't afford to buy him anything. And I looked like such a fool, and it's a mistake anybody could have made. And he forgave me in a way that I assumed that, you know, he's just, but in the same way that in reality, if I did the same thing with somebody else, they came in and they accidentally did some damage, I would put it out of my mind and be totally forgiven. And we've talked about it long since. We're old friends now, but boy, that puts a damper on the rest of the week. But it also, you know, kind of tightens up the tense muscles. And I did everything very, very slowly that week, just to make sure everything that I did, the way I spoke, the way I carried things, the way I moved things, didn't do any damage. Aaron Harding, getting my dose of 2001 nostalgia. Got Diablo 2 resurrected, working on Linux. Me too. I've done that recently. That's cool. I feel like I'm in high school again. Blizzard even figured out how to make gigabit Ethernet feel like 28K. I don't think I noticed that. I did it on a Pi, and so it natively felt 28K. Very cool. Diablo 2. I played that. I enjoyed that. I wasn't a big gamer through my years. I played games, but not like Scott and Mike and some of the other guys in the company. But that was definitely on my list. What else here? Heck yeah. Writing codes is Andrew Hutz. That's what he does. Passing time mark 158, but also hacking and watching football. Scott Jernigan pokes in at 159 and bids you all welcome Avinut, the avian pursuer of all things avian. There we go. A lot of jet plane activity, air show nearby. I don't remember where you're from and who's got an air show. I'll look at that, or you can mention it. Reading messages. I'm heard. Thank you, Jason. Andre made it in time today. Didn't forget, didn't sleep in, didn't have to work. Don't you have their phone number, Andrew? Yes, Andrew has all of our info, because it's his info too. Banhammer Scott, yes. 209 people talking to each other, like. Oh yes, like. 13 people here. Yeah, we're Zooming today, but 4 likes. You know what? I'm one of the people here. There, I have liked it too. Please give me a thumbs up on this thing. Doesn't help me. I don't make any money off of it, but it helps other people who are looking for Raspberry Pi and CompTIA oriented videos, moves us near the top of the hit list. And that's what it's all about, right? It's not about making money. It's about people seeing Mike's face and people seeing Dave's face. And when Scott gets back to it, seeing Scott's face. We're performers, right? We're educators, but part and parcel of that is performing. We like to be in front of people. Yeah, Hoodie's probably here. Somebody downvoted us. I shouldn't do that. I should just totally ignore that, but that one got my goat. So if you're here, Hoodie, feel free to check in. I won't be mean to you. I'm not that way. Andrew Hutz, Dave, how do you feel about Apple's choice to... Okay, let's stop the question there. How do I feel about Apple's choice? I feel nothing about anything Apple does, but okay, let's just carry it on for further. How do you feel about Apple's choice to exclude certain things like Telnet and FTP from Mac OS? Can still be installed manually. Well, look, so let's go this route. The original Mac, not the original Apple, but the original Mac was a product with an effort to hide the guts of the computer and the computer processes from users. And while they have strayed from that a little bit over the years and made tools and utilities natively available to those folks who are interested in the guts, still, I got to believe that most users aren't. Most users aren't going to open up a terminal session and get on into a command line or into a bash shell of the POSIX compliant Unix internal to Mac. So I think looking at it, hopefully objectively, that doesn't bother me. Since you point out, I wasn't aware of that. I don't follow Mac other than, you know, big things in the news, $1,000 monitor stands and things like that, and sometimes some interesting tech that comes by. But since you're saying that it's still installable for the geeks who like that stuff, I think they like to go out and install it. And maybe while they're at it, you know, I don't think I'll get the Apple version of this thing. I might try and get some third-party version that might be better, different, whatever. So, Scott, you fanboy. No, Scott's not a fanboy. He's a fan, but all right. So there's my thought. Exclusion might be, but for the average user, exclusion might be a good idea. Yeah, you know, I don't care. I think for the average user, they're not even aware it's there. And if they accidentally fired up Telnet or FTP, they wouldn't know what to do with it. And they would either reboot or try and figure out how to get out of there. Okay, you're in Sacramento over at Mather. Very good. Yes, I've spent much time out there over at well, that's up north. Love the big B-52 with the sway belly there at SAC. There's Nelms. Well, on the positive, I don't see how much damage I can do. Oops, I just cut the internet. Hang on one moment. I'll escalate. I guess I'll be installing a new VM of Mac OS. Forgot my password. You know, that's not the first time, if I remember right, Andre, that you installed something and forgot the password. Maybe it was somebody else, but I have this vague recollection that it was you. Aaron Harding likes guts. Me too. Most of us here do. Is this Adam and Eve Day, Patricia Grace? We're doing apples and snakes? Oh, okay, I see. Got it. All right. Tell the way to 217. I want my FTP. Jason talking to Scott. Root of all evil. Goodness gracious. The holy war begins. Catherine's here. Hi, Catherine. Good to see you live. Had to miss last several. That's okay. You know, people got things to do, and I don't take attendance. I do make notes, but you know, you'll never know. I'm thinking about, says Andrew Hutz at 217. I'm thinking about the people who use MacBooks at coffee shops. Could turn out really bad if they somehow accidentally opened up a port 23 at some point. You know, how often has that happened in the past? You know, that seems like lightning striking. I won't say twice in the same place because we all know it keeps striking and striking, but it's such a low odds thing. You got to accidentally open up the port. Somebody has to be nearby to accidentally recognize you've opened up the port, or they're hacking or they're scanning. And I know you kind of live in a hacking mindset these days, so you're probably a little more paranoid, and maybe justifiably so, than the rest of us. But I think it's a low hazard. They're worms. I'm going with snakes, but okay, I guess they look like worms too. We all know how much of a mess people can make of their systems after all. Well, that's why we're here. We make money servicing them, or trade, or do whatever. Security through senility. I like security through obscurity. Yes, you are very paranoid, and that's okay. All right, it's caught up on questions at 2:20. Let's go do the notes and see what kind of good stuff is up here. Specials, we got specials. I like this week's special. Mike didn't, I don't think, got around to mentioning it on the Wednesday show, so it hasn't gotten much press. So let me give it some of that well-deserved press. I didn't do a sheet with specials up on it. That's all right. Scott, if you'll post specials to the YouTube chat feed, please, and I will just note for everybody what they are. There's no way. I always do the specials. Hang on. We just got to look in the folder and bring it up to the screen sharer. This is a clam. There we go. Posted. Thank you, Scott. There. Okay. There's the weekly special discount page. Okay, cool. Now I can share that with you, and the world will be happy. Okay, so Scott just posted what we've got up here. You can check it out up here. AMA specials this week and this week only. They change week to week. 50% off bundles. The bundles are ebook and total tester bundles for specific certifications or education programs. So we've got a bundle with an ebook and a total tester for A+, one for Net+, one for Security+, CYSA+, Pen Test+, AWS Systems Architecture Associate. And the code, I love the code this week, it's Spangled. And there's probably some iterations of uppercase and lowercase, but my guess is if you do all lowercase, you can't go wrong. So you go to the TotalSim website, you load up on Loot, including these bundles, and then when you check out, put in the code Spangled, and you'll get 50% off of any bundles that you packed up. Good through this Sunday, September 26th. I like specials. Can't imagine why I hadn't put that up in my sheet, but there it goes. Did I miss anything up there? No, I did that. So we got a project today. We have two projects today. The second one is just kind of a pre-introduction into a thing called cron jobs. That's available in every version of Linux, every distro of Linux out there. So you certainly don't need a Raspberry Pi, excuse me, hiccups, to play with the cron utility. We're also going to use a brain fart. We're going to do that thing. We did Citadel. There we go. We're going to put Clam AV, the antivirus software, on a Raspberry Pi. And Clam AV, I'm not sure why they called it Clam. I didn't bother to look into it. My guess is it bites down on malware and does whatever it does with it, chews it up or isolates it or deletes it or whatever. But there it is. It's Clam AV. I could be totally off on that. And that's going to be our big project today. And Clam AV is available for most versions of Linux. Runs fine. It's a Python-based thing, so it runs on everybody. So if you don't have your Raspberry Pi yet and you want to play around with one of the ways we can do antiviruses on a Linux environment, fire up your virtual machine, make a virtual machine, put Linux or put, I don't know, anything in there, put Ubuntu in there, put Mint in there, put Debian, whatever makes you happy, Arch, and you can play with both of the things we're going to do today. But I like Raspberry Pis, so we're going to do it on Raspberry Pi OS. I have an announcement. let's do it now. The big announcement. Let me go to the page here. There's nothing to post. Announcement link. There it is. Okay, we go over here, we share it. I'm going to have more details over the next couple of weeks, and some of these details may change just a little bit, but if any of you are linked in with me, you will have seen the text version of this announcement. So here is the Getting Official. On Friday, October 29th, about a week or so from now, a month from now, maybe 5 weeks from now, I think it probably is, we're going to hold an online costume, or for our international friends, fancy dress party on the unofficial Discord channel. I'll post the link for that in just a moment. It's going to start a couple minutes after we end the drama stream. So it'll be 4:15 for an hour to 5:15 Central Time. Show up in a costume. You're going to need a camera for this one. Participants must have a, this is totally unofficial and it's totally unfair, but that's what we're going to do. So turn up in costume. You don't have to wear it for the whole time, but you got to wear it long enough for me to see it, because I'm going to be the judge of these. And then you can pop it off, and I may ask you, hang around till 5:15. That's when we're going to announce the winner. You got to be present to win at that moment. And a couple of minutes before 5:15, everybody who's there on camera, if you've taken your mask off or whatever, you put it back on so I can do one last look over, get a screenshot of everything. And then at 5:15, I'm going to pick a third place, a second place, and a first place best costume. Now, we don't have a ton of participants over on the Discord channel sometimes, so your chances of winning are very high. Thank you, Andrew on the back channel. All right, so winner, there will be fabulous prizes. I'll have a third place and a second place prize. I don't know what they're going to be yet. However, Scott heard about my little program here, and he said, you have permission to ask the high muckety mucks to front the cost for a good grand prize. So I sent an email this morning to the high muckety mucks, Dudley, our CEO, and he said, absolutely, let's give away a Raspberry Pi 4 kit. So that's going to be grand prize for best costumes. This is something you do every year around Halloween. So you're not going out of your way to do this. It's going to be a ton of fun. And we're going to kill an hour comparing costumes and just shooting the breeze on anything that comes up. And as you may see, Andrew and Scott and Mike, if you're on watching today, Total Seminars employees may, should, must participate, but you are not eligible for prizes. Me neither, because I'm going to have the best costume, probably. So that's my official announcement. I will do an update on this in a couple of weeks on LinkedIn. I'll update more here as things improve. I find out what I'm going to do for second and third place prizes and other stuff. So it'll modify a little bit as we go along, but that's the general gist of online Halloween. I don't think we're the first ones to ever do a Halloween online party, but I never heard of one. It just came to me one day, a couple days ago, and I said, oh my gosh, we have to do this. I think I was thinking about what I wore and Scott wore for the Halloween show last year, and that dawned on me. We can kind of extend that and carry it out. I don't want to do it on drama. I love drama and I love doing wacky things on drama, but we have so much stuff queued up to do as fun projects that I don't want to lose any time on that. All right, what else is cooking here? So that's that announcement. Another announcement, just general Linux oriented announcement. I have nothing to do with this. Ubuntu. If you're not aware, Ubuntu has a 2-track release system. One of them is kind of like beta. It's good for 6 months, sometimes up to a year. And you can always tell the beta, the short-term versions, because they end in 0.10. There's a 20.10 and a 19.10 and an 18.10 and so forth. And then the ones that they actually support for real, long-term, continue to provide files, patches, fixes, updates, and things like that. That's called their LTS version, long-term support. And those releases always have a 0.04 number in their version, 20.04, 18.04, and so forth. Well, they just announced they've been doing 4-year support or 6-year support. I'm not certainly clear, but they went to 10 years support on long-term support. So if you buy, Ubuntu is free for regular users like you and I, and install it, it will continue to run and have support and updates and things like that available for the next 10 years. Now, you got to have a pretty compelling reason in my eyes to continue to use a 9-year-old version of Ubuntu when 4 more versions will have been released since then. But there are companies who do have really good reasons to do that. Big airline company used to use Novell NetWare 2.15 to manage their reservation system. And NetWare upgraded many times all the way up to NetWare 6, but because their software was so locked into the core of NetWare 2.15, they paid Novell lots of money every year to continue to support it just for them. And then, sooner or later there comes a point that says you're going to have to update. Their point came when Novell said, we aren't going to be doing NetWare anymore. You better get your ducks in order. But they did give them plenty of notice. The PyR Square server is up. I made archive documents for today's show and put them up there. It's going to be up all night till at least midnight tonight, my time. So if you want to follow along with what I'm doing today on paper instead of just listening, you can download today's documents. And we have all the documents from all the other shows. I have. Scott, if you would post the link for the PyR Square server. And I will do something similar. There it isn't. Man, I've just totally fallen down on the job today. Sorry about that. But I know how to handle this. I can bring it up in no time flat. There it is. Bring that up, share it. What are you doing? Okay. So if you're new to this thing, you're watching us on the archive or something like that, let me tell you just a hair about this server. It's cool. This is a web server that I built 6 months ago, something like that. And it's home hosted. So I fire it up whenever we do the shows and on demand. I don't have, okay. I'll put the PyR Square, or you can just type it in manually from here, Scott. HTTPS. So, but just go to pyrsquare.zapto.org. There's some neat stuff on there. The first link, I believe, it takes you to the downloads page. And then on the downloads page are downloadable links of zip files of all of the documents that I use when I'm doing the show. So any pictures, my outlines, my notes, my PDFs, whatever. Sometimes there's files with code in them. So you can get that all off the pyrsquare.zapto.org server. Pi, the letter R, square, no spaces, no dashes, none of that stuff. Anything here? Yeah, hey, let's do one more thing and then I'll go back to Q&A. So this isn't the only place to do this. This because the problem with this is as a real-time utility, it's good for 2 hours a week and love when you're here and I love to real-time chat with you and text with you, but there is another way. Thank you very much. Scott posted the link at 2:33. I know I'm dragging him away. He should be on with me as long as he's doing all this back channel work, but soon. At any rate, so there is another way and place to communicate not just with me, but with 400 or more of your peers. And your peers are going to include people who know nothing and they're just starting out learning this stuff, to people who are deep into pen test and everything in between. Our good friend, Jose Braden, set up a Discord channel year and a half ago, something like that. And you can join us by using either of these two links. I think the second link is probably the most current. These change every week. And there's two different ways to get links off of there, and they're always different numbers, but try either of these. And Scott, I know you have those. If you would post them, that'd be great. You can click on the links for Discord over at on the YouTube chat. And if it takes you to a place that says this link is expired, don't worry about it. Just look around on that page. There's a link somewhere on there that says continue anyways, and you will join the server. And as I said, there's hundreds of us over there. Some people are on 24 hours a day, some people a couple hours a week, whatever the case may be. Sorry, I got to see that. Nah, it's gone. Kid had 2 hard tests this week, 3 hard tests at school this week. And I think he just posted a success one on our back channel. Man, I'm sitting here holding this thing up and I didn't share it, or I did share it and it's not. Yeah, I shared it. Sorry. I got distracted by that thing. Okay. Discord links posted at 2:35. Thank you very much, Scott. Yeah, I did that. And if you're watching this in the archive and this part, the YouTube channel is scrolled off or whatever, just pause your screen here and you can get the links in from there. They are case sensitive. So that's where we're going to meet up on Friday the 29th at 4:15 Central Time for our online costume fancy dress party. Okay, did that. I got those to do, and that's it. Just those 2 things left. Cool. All my slides. By the way, all these slides, even though I missed putting them up on the sharer, they are included in the download documents because I take every PDF that I create in my folder and sharify them. All right, back to questions. Let's see what's going on over here. I want my FTP. I had the wrong melody for that earlier, didn't I? Yeah, super scrolled and I didn't have my stuff monitoring. Apples, Scott's posting like crazy, as nice man that he is. There we go. Okay, I'm picking up at 2:17, which is only 7 minutes ago, so we're okay there. Apple is the root of all evil at all times, Adam and Eve. Exactly right. I know I sensed that one. Okay, so Catherine was here. We checked her in. We all know it says as security through senility. There we go. Okay, I'm caught up now. I'm at 2:20. Aaron says, Apple saying they consider my 13-year-old daughter an adult and making me get permission from her to view changes made to my debit card on my plan on the phone I bought. Yeah. Yeah, I would feel the same way. Ugh. It bugs me bad enough when government intrudes in our life, but when big business starts to dictate our sense and our morality and societal norms, I go bananas. All right, Scott posted our specials this week with the code Spangle at 221. I was talking to Andrew. No rotten apple emoji, so I did the best I could. It was very creative, Patricia. I liked it. I went with the Adam and Eve snake and apple theme based on the evil thing, but the rotten with worms, good with that too. It's good. I'm about to get my tricked. Jason, I had to LOL. I say it's all fun, very good. Reading. Jason liked it, as does Scott. Very good. We're all one big happy family here, which reminds me, I still have to send Kathy a mail. Yeah, we should put a rule on that. If you don't contact her within 24 hours, it evaporates. No, I'm kidding. We give away prizes. We want you to have them. Cerebral flatulence. Okay. Yeah, I know. I said it and I wish I could take that back, and maybe I'll edit it tomorrow. Gotta wait a day. Reading messages, passing 227. I'll be there. Got to find a costume. You don't find a costume, you make one. Trying to make a winner out of you, bud. I compete for the glory. I always dress up for Halloween. Absolutely, Scott does. Scott has a genre of costumes that he's known for, but he can also really get into the barrel and come up with some creative things. Jason, wonder if I could pull off the Uncle Fester look with a glowing light bulb. Boy, you know, easier today back then, right? Because a little battery powered LED. Love that stuff. I did a play one time, longer ago than any of you should ever know about. But there was a line in there. This was a play that set back into the 30s and 40s probably. And one of the characters had a line that mentioned the great orator, Jackie Coogan. And I knew then that Jackie Coogan was Uncle Fester. And it's been that many years, well over 30, that I keep saying to myself, I want to look up Jackie Coogan's history. And I always forget, hey, I got a notepad here. That's my trip down the rabbit hole later tonight. Jackie Coogan. Somebody will do that while I'm here, and that's cool. COO. Somebody check and see if he was in fact a great orator or if that was just the confused ramblings of the character. But you can't pull out, I mean, you're going to do a bald head or just, you know, shave it. Go, Mike. Should I dress this with? You're going to need a good brown beard. I could do Tullowit. It wouldn't, I'm not full enough right now. It would not be the first time that I've browned up this beard for a number of reasons. Yeah. Tullowit. I'm a professional editor and pedant, and that was a double negative. Which is why I use triple negatives. So it cancels out the double negative. Super Skull, nope, I caught up with it. I prefer bleeding edge myself. Right, cutting my own throat on the bleeding edge of technology. You run Arch, very good. Which is straight Arch or one of the derivations? And are you running it on Pi? Are you running it on a dedicated machine? You're running it in a VM? Tell me about your Arch life, briefly. Scott posted 2 links at 233 and 235. One, the link to my share server, and the other one, a link to the Discord server. So please join us afterward. I don't know if Scott's going to be there or Mike. They usually have a meeting on Friday. And Scott and Mike, I'm going to hopefully ask that you be able to join us, make that meeting run fast or cancel it or do whatever, and join us for the costume party on the 29th. That would really be great. But I will be on Discord today after the show, 10 to 15 minutes afterward. I always just have a few forums that pile up on questions, and they have this odd tendency to do so during the show. I don't know what that's all about, but there's always a lot more questions over this 2-hour period than most 2-hour periods over the course of a week. So always got to get those answered. But then I join over on Discord. I will be there today. Nothing major going on this weekend, so I don't have to prep anything early. And all the food is frozen, so I don't have to make dinner. The missus will probably pick something up or order something. What do we got here? Andrew, late game Civ 6 are brutal, but good Lord. Should I commit myself to victory through diplomacy and economics? Please. Nobody plays Civ so that they can create treaties and truces. Careful with the nukes. Yeah, Scott's a big Civ player. Big. You guys should be playing together. Careful with the nukes. Too much pollution. I wonder if that's, you know, I never thought about that. Does Civ deal with the aftermath of nukes? That's kind of cool. Can we, says Scott, ever be post-apocalyptica with a link to a YouTube? All right. I'll look at that afterward. He was a child actor. Okay, thank you, David Zintera. Good to see you. If I do, I might as well do it right. Shave it slick. Darn right. Yeah, if you're going to do it right, do it. Okay, I will not click that. However, I will save it for my own purposes. over here to my handy dandy notes. Come on, note page. Not that one. This one. That's weird. Oh, yeah. Okay. No, I know Apocalyptica. Yeah, we've talked about them before. I've seen it. Never mind. I don't have to go do that. Okay, shrinking things down, reading notes here. Wow. All right, I'm going to look up Jackie Coogan child actor roles. I like all that stuff that came before his time, all those early black and whites from the 20s, the teens, and maybe into the 30s. Straight arch on my main rig, liquid cooled i9 9900K. Well, you got a K, are you overclocking? 32 gigs of RAM, 3.6 gigs, of course, DDR4, XFS, nice configuration there. 980 Pro M2, 1 gig or 2, 1 terabyte or 2. With all that, better be 2. I run Ubuntu Server 2 on my hypervisor and have straight arch on my laptop. Nice. Are you joining us here on your Arch rig, or do you run Windows when you actually need to have something functional? I'm kidding. I love it. Co-starred with Charlie Chaplin and the Kid. Okay, I know that. I didn't realize it was him. A single terabyte, but you have 2. Okay, in RAID, no doubt. All right, I'm caught up on questions. It's 2:46. That's good. I want to start the project, and then we'll come back. We'll do more questions. Oh, one final thing. Andrew, I didn't get any word from you if you had done any updates to your blog of late, but Andrew Hutz joins us here and employed with Total Seminars and student and quite the Renaissance guy. Except for myself, Total Seminars is packed with Renaissance guys, so he is kind of a perfect fit. Well, he writes a security blog. Very good writer, interesting. His topics are interesting. His writing is excellent, which is why we hired him. And so he's got a little blog at tgasec.wordpress.com. I'll put the link up here. I didn't give that to Scott in advance to post. And check it out. Give him his comments. Talk to him about it on Discord server. He's one of the guys who's on there frequently. Okay, I just posted that at the current time, which is 2:47. He sued his parents. No, he wouldn't be the first. And he wouldn't be the first to do it, rightly so, huh? All right. That finishes up with 2:47. It is project time at, amazingly, 2:47. So we're doing 1.5 projects, call it 2 projects. We're going to look at a Linux antivirus program called ClamAV. We're going to run it on our Raspberry Pi. And then the tutorial that I decided to use, you don't really need much of a tutorial on this. Sorry, hiccups. Built into their tutorial, using a cron job to schedule the running of this thing. This kind of antivirus isn't one that runs in the background all the time and watches everything all the time. And it has to be run manually or via another automated process. So they just do one line in here, but I thought it was kind of a good opportunity to take advantage of it. We're just going to do their simple little cron process, but that'll lead us into, in a couple of weeks, a cron system, into a cron presentation. And that suddenly reminds me that I need to put that in my, okay. It's not in the easy accessible areas, so note time. Feature cron. All right, so project number 1, install and run ClamAV on Raspberry Pi. Hardware, it'll run on all versions of Raspberry Pi, from the first only letter models, the A and the B, to the 2, 3, and 4s. The whole point, of course, is not to install Clam on a Raspberry Pi in isolation. I want to run it on a Linux machine that needs antivirus protection. Now, Mike and I did an antivirus show sometime last year. If you need to to dig it up, let me know and I can help you find it. I didn't pull it out here in notes. We talked about all the popular antivirus programs, or many of them, for the Windows environment. And we completely neglected anything that has to do with Macs and Linux, other than to say, we recognize that they are lesser targets than Windows machines. There's a lot more development in malware on Windows machines, or for Windows machines. We're seeing a lot more in the Mac environment, and we're seeing some in the Linux environment as well. So this is not an in isolation thing. I want to use this on a machine that has the potential to be infected by malware, and use this as a shield or as a sword to kill any malware that finds its way onto my machine. So we're going to run current version of Raspberry Pi OS, worked on most of the previous versions that I'm aware of, all the ones that I'm aware of. The job of antivirus, anti-malware software, those two terms are rapidly melding together and becoming synonymous, right? Anti-malware, malware, and virus. So the point of antivirus software is to discover and stop, quarantine, or destroy malware before it does its damage, or even after it does its damage. So I can get rid of that, then we can remediate whatever it did and then get started up again. How do people get malware? I'm not going to do a big presentation on this. There's a million vectors, but when you get down to it, the two singular biggest ones are, I go to a website. Now, most websites won't infect you just for arriving there. However, that's not the case in every case. There are websites that can infect you for just your connection to them. That requires poor and loose security on your machine for that to work, because most of the browsers have a number of protection services in there. The other one is via email. Within attachments, within the email themselves, might be something as simple as a script, might be something as nasty as a Trojan or a worm. And for that reason, for those two reasons, I picked this project because it dovetails well with what we did over the past 2 weeks. We did a 2-week project to create and install an email server, Citadel, and we installed an email client. Now think about the Citadel thing. If you're using secure email to or from Citadel, the transfer of the data, the email messages, is secure. That stuff is encrypted. However, sitting in the folder on the email server, on the POP server or in the SMTP server, it's not encrypted. It doesn't get encrypted until it gets transferred in or out of the computer, or in or out of the client. And so we can help be preemptive in cleaning up any malware or viri that's part of emails. And the same goes for your email client. And of course, you can use any anti-malware to scan any piece or pieces of your computer, any part of the file system, specific files, this folder on down, the root folder on down, whatever, excuse me. So that's why we're going to use our Clam AV today. For the most part, except for us Uber geeks, the world lives on Windows. After that, the world lives on Macs, and after that, the world lives on Linux. Linux running on traditional computers and laptops, Linux running in your Android phone. That's a distro of Linux. Here, while I got this up. Oh, good. Yep, I was right. It was a report of a successful test. Of 3 successful tests. Yay. Now, when we deal with the Mac and the Windows world, it's graphical, right? You don't have command line antivirus, anti-malware utilities. Many of the anti-malware stuff that's out there does have a command line executable. You can run this stuff from command line, but certainly regular users aren't going to do it. And most of us probably won't even after today, but some of you who really like guts, like myself, might say, hey, it might be kind of cool to go see what's possible with whatever your favorite antivirus program is. So I started making a short list of it, and then I realized we've already made a list of all the popular ones in the episode we did. I run them all except one. So I run Norton, and I run Malwarebytes, and I run AVG and Avast, and lots of other ones. I have tons and tons and tons of computers between the office and here, and I use them all on kind of a running experiment to see who catches what, who doesn't catch what. And I don't disparage anybody. For the most part, I don't like anything more or less than anything else, even Windows Defender and Windows Essentials. One of those doesn't exist anymore, but they're fine. So I don't, if I had to set up a new machine right now, and it just came with the native built-in Windows anti-malware thing, I'd be fine with that. It works great. But such is not the case with the Linux environment. There are some graphical utilities, but Linux, when you get down to its core, is still a command line world, and especially with things like this. So that's the way we're going to do ClamAV, and it doesn't have a graphical interface anyways. We're going to use it that way because that's the way it gets used. And I picked ClamAV because a couple of weeks ago, when I started thinking about, we got to do an antivirus presentation, I'll do some research. What do I like? Okay, I like Clam based on its features and its ease of install and how well I can present it and so forth. And then a week or two ago, I started seeing a whole bunch of press about it. The world apparently caught on to it, or they did some presentation that got them some attention in the world. And I thought, well, okay, even better then. Our Linux gurus and freaks and dabblers may have heard about this, so we can sort of expand on it and take a look at what it is. So it's executed from the command line. It has lots of switches and flags, and this governs what it does, where it does it, how it does it, when it does it, and so forth. We can run it at any time, at any location, and that's its advantage and its disadvantage. We can run it anytime, anywhere. So if I just install it and don't do anything else, especially with a third-party utility or not necessarily third party, but with another utility, it's never going to do anything until I get in there and start running the ClamAV command. ClamAV is open source. And you can find, Scott, I think I gave this, yes, I did give this to you. If you would post the ClamAV site, clamav.net, on the chat feed, please. You can go take a look at what there is as far as it goes. We're not, the good news is we've got a repository to work from. We don't have to download any of their SIG files or anything like that. If you go there, when you go there, you may notice something interesting. You open up a browser tab, you type in clamav.net, clamav, and it'll take you to their website. And their website isn't an HTTPS secure website, it's an HTTP. And that's not unusual for a lot of open source websites. They're not asking you to send anything that's sensitive that they would care about hiding themselves, or that you would need to hide from anybody. And likewise, they're not going to send anything out that's considered sensitive or personal. So it's okay to run that thing. Now, one of the things that's interesting is Google has said they're going to stop listing websites that aren't HTTPS sites. Thank you. Posted at 2:58. Not yet, Scott. On the other half, I'll let you know on that in just a moment. Oh, here, I'll tell you what, my notes are now calling for the next link. So let me show you this. Scott, post the Pi My Life Up link, please. Scott's now posting the link for the tutorial that I'm using. It's a nice tutorial. It has one important missing step in it. So either listen to me at the right time or download my archive documents from pirsquare.zapto.org, and it has the missing step added in there, so it'll work. Let me show you this. Okay, I'll show you two things right quick. Can I do that? Nah. Okay, there it is. I'm going to show you the website that's got the tutorial if you're not following along live on their website, and that's cool. Somebody got a little creative on this one by adding some graphics. This Clam AV, that's the same graphic you're going to find on the main page of the clamav.net site. But they do a nice job documenting it. Most of the Pi My Life Up projects are well documented. They number their steps. They put the stuff you have to type in this gray box. You can copy and paste it. It's not bad. So the missing step is on the second part of the project when we're going to automate it with cron just before step 4. They've got the script created. Now we can modify Crontab. It's no good until you make the script executable, executable, and they missed that step in here. So I got it. Show you how to do it. Piece of pie. All right, so here we go. I'm just following along in their steps. It says step number. Well, I guess what we got to do first is get you to be able to see one of the servers, huh? So I'm going to use the email server that we created last week. Doesn't matter that we do or don't. I just picked one. It's a Raspberry Pi 4. It's a 4 gig model, I think. And let's see, regular password, Raspberry, RASPBERRY. Okay, now we share it. All righty. So the first thing that we always do before we install any kind of software is what is going on there? There we go. Is a sudo apt update. And you may or may not have to do a sudo apt upgrade. I'm not going to do it right now, but I did it today. I did a fresh update and upgrade. You can do it as 2 different lines, sudo apt upgrade when it's done, sudo apt upgrade, or you can combine them together, sudo apt update, double ampersand, sudo apt. And then I like to pre-feed the yes, I want to do this to upgrade. And you hit the big enter key and it goes. I usually do all of my updates and upgrades on Tuesday. And man, what a project I've had for the last 2 weeks. I finished it last night, late last night. But I was too busy on Tuesday even to do that. So I did them this morning, and it's been a week and a half since I've done them, and nothing has been updated in the last 2 weeks since I've done them. And then so today I paid the penalty, and it was a little over an hour to update them all. Of course, I do them all at the same time, but wow, what a project. All right. So we've done our sudo apt update, and this is a fairly quick process. We're going to sudo apt install clamav. Let me go buzz, 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 grind, grind, grind. You really want to do it? Yeah, I really want to do it. And you can see it doesn't take up too much stuff, about 1.5 MB. So it doesn't take too long to set up. And it's an install. It's not just copying it down, it's installing it and building it into all the appropriate folders. It's not like Windows. It doesn't build itself into some registry. It doesn't build itself into the operating system. None of these programs that we do in Linux does. Very, very rarely anyways, but certainly not when we're talking about external utilities and things like that. All right, and we wait that out. And as soon as that's done, we can start running commands on it. So that's what the tutorial, this whole first part of the tutorial is all about. What are some of the command line switches that we can use? What do they do? How do they work? We're not going to go into all of them, of course. That would be a very long and large project. It's a powerful and sophisticated utility. The primary command to do anything is called clam scan. You almost done? Yeah, okay. Now if we just, oops, almost done. Come on. There we go. We can check and see if it's installed. And this works for just about any program by running a command -space -help. Whoa, what just happened there? Why did you choke? Did I miss something? Did I speedily get ahead of myself and not read questions here? Clam scan. Oh, not clam AV, clam scan. Duh. Let's clear this. Clam scan. There we go. So it's installed because the clam scan command works. Now, where are we? I am in PWD. My present working directory is my home folder. If I take a look and see what's in there, there's no files in here. There's a handful of subdirectories. And if we just type in the command clam scan, it does a scan of the contents, but not subcontents of the folder that I'm in right now, my present working directory. Do take your time, darling. While we're waiting for that to do its thing, I'll talk about the next piece. If I want to use clam scan to look in the current folder and in any subfolders, we add one switch to it. It's just the -R switch. Okay. No errors found. Infected files is 0. Scanned a whole 7 files. 7 files? I don't see 7 files in there, Dave. That's because there's hidden files in here. Let's clear that and give you a better view. ls-a. So all these things that start with dot are hidden files. So I got these 3 bashes. I got this dot profile and these 3 X sessions and X authority. All right, now let's do it a little more. I don't think I have anything in those other folders down low. This is just a fresh install the other day. So we'll clam scan -R, recursive from this point on down. And that'll take a moment while we're waiting. You can specify which folder you want it to work in. And I'm not going to do that because obviously it takes a while for it to get started. But what's kind of interesting about this, we got an okay there? Yeah. What's interesting about it is you can make lists. So instead of just saying, I want to scan this folder on down, you can say, I want to scan this folder on down and this folder on down. You separate them with a space, and this folder on down, and so forth. Come on, there's not that much more. You should be done. I'm not going to hit the enter key on the next one. The next question is, while we're waiting for this, what do we do if we find a virus? There we go. I guess there was a lot more stuff there than I thunk. Okay, and now he's generating a report. So when he's all done, he's going to tell us how many viruses he found. And hopefully the answer is 0 because it's a pretty darn fresh install and I haven't gone anywhere with this. Infected files, 0. Cool. And let me just show you how we would specify different folders. You just put a path to a given folder, maybe /home/pi. How about I want to scan all of the folders recursively of every user on this system? Then I can just do /home, whack home. Oh, and I'd also like to scan the whack root folder and the root Etsy folder. I think that would take quite some time, but you just separate your different locations with individuals, and you can do sublocations like I showed here. So clam AV, clam scan, recursively or not recursively. And how about a path like this folder, this folder structure doesn't exist in this computer, but var www.html. This is the folder that gets created by default when you install an Apache system. And for that, you may have to precede your command with sudo or already be in the sudo environment. All right, what if I do find an infected file? Well, there's a couple things that we can do about it. One is nothing. Just by running clam scan with no handling flags, it won't do anything. It'll just show you that it found an infected file, and it'll actually give you information on that file. You can quarantine it. You can say if it finds an infected file, it will copy and move it to a place that you specify. Set up a folder in advance to hold quarantine files, and it'll get moved there. And then you can do your own review on that. Is it truly infected? If it is, you get rid of it manually. And if it's not, you can put it back. There is also a destroy option. Hey, if you find anything, it's got to be bad because my machine is so secure that I can't tolerate and wipe it out. So the tutorial's got all the information on how to do that. I'll show you a little bit about here. Again, I'm not going to hit the, come here, you. Oh, I went too far there. Let's go straight into destruction mode. And this would be a very bad thing. This wouldn't be a bad thing to do on this machine. It has no infections, but it'd probably be time consuming. So notice that we've added a new flag here, --, remove. And then here's a list of 2 folders that the system wants to do. So remove will destroy any files that it finds. It'll delete them that are infected. You can log everything that's found here. We can do --, move equals, and then the path to where you want to move it to. Pre-create any directory that you want to move things to. So here's an example that they did. Paste. So we're going to clam scan recursively the whack home folder and the whack mount folder. And if we find anything, we're going to --, move them to a folder called quarantine. Now I have to pre-create that quarantine folder before I ran this command. All right, you get the idea. I'm not going to read off any more options. Oh, there's one other option that we need to take a quick look at. Yeah. So if I run a clam scan, stop it. Let's say clam scan -r root home root pi. And I hit the enter key on here. We'll get that summary with the infected file 0 on it. Or let's say it found an infected file. Well, the problem is he's only going to tell me that he found an infected file or 2 or 5 or whatever, but I don't know what they are. So you add another switch, the I switch, and I will cause it to show you the name and path of any infected files that it found. Useful information. I would do this if I did a move with it, and I would also use the switch to generate a log so I know where any moved files came from. So if I have to put them back because they were incorrectly assessed as being infected, then I could do that. All right, let me kill out of here for a second and talk to you. Heads up and face up, and we'll come back to that for the next part. So think about your own antivirus stuff that you run regularly. Do you get a notification every now and again that says, hey, AVG the signature file is out of date. Would you like to update? Yes, I would. Or maybe you don't get that notification because you have notifications turned off or whatever, but you know that once a week or daily or whatever your favorite frequency is, you need to get new signature files. Now, just as a refresher, what are signature files? Every piece of malware, every virus, every malware has a certain piece of code in it that makes it unique from every other virus or malware. And what anti-malware software does is it has a database of all of those unique pieces of codes. They're called their signatures. So when it does a scan, it looks at the potentially infected file, scans its entire contents and looks in there for any entries that match any of the signatures in its signature database. So we've got to update the signature database. And Scott, if you're listening, there's a link for signature management.html. It's in docs.clamav.net. I'm going to put up a slide, and I want you to know how and where to go get signatures. Again, this is kind of a manual process, so you're going to have to do this regularly and manually. You can schedule this as a cron job to get updated signature files. Let me go pick a ClamAv PyUp, this one. Okay, we'll share that. Thank you, Scott. He posted that link at 3:16. And I'll put it up here. Here's the two ClamAv site things that we've done. If you want to just get to the main site, and there's downloads of various packages there if you don't have it available in the repository for your version of Linux that you're playing with today. You can download all kinds of different versions for different distros out there. And then over here at docs.clamav.net, whack manual, whack usage, and this is all one word, signature management.html. That will tell you how to update the signature files. And I would do that if I were running this as a production machine. It was my daily driver. If it was an email server, I would be running this as a cron job daily. And the same goes for any other production server or desktop machine that's in use all the time. Anything that you virus scan, you should be downloading signatures every day. All right, so we know how to run ClamAv, ClamScan from the command line. So let's automate it by turning it into a cron job. Project number 2, and this is just going to be a real light taste. We're going to create a cron job. We're not going to get into how cron works and all that good stuff. I will do that on another presentation because I like it. So let me share my server with you again. And we're sharing. So there is a program that is the task scheduler. It's the cron program. It runs all the time in the background, and it has a file that it refers to all the time that says, what am I supposed to be doing and when am I supposed to be doing it? Now, cron can't do anything in and of itself other than launch other programs. So what we do is we set up a trigger. We say at a specific time of day, at a specific time and specific day of the week, every hour, every time the computer boots, every time a shutdown command is issued, cron finds a trigger in there that you've created for one of those events, one of those tasks, one of those jobs. And it says, okay, well, this is a trigger time. I'm supposed to do it. And then it looks in the cron configuration file and finds out what he's supposed to do. Is he supposed to launch a program? Is he supposed to run ClamAV? Or is he supposed to run a script? That's usually the more typical thing to do. We write a script and cron runs the script. So let me get one going here. To run antivirus failure, we got to create a little script here. And they have a place in mind with their lab where they want it created. So, okay, I'll do it the way they want. But I'm going to make one minor little change here. So we're going to run nano, it's a little text editor, to create a file called scanvirus.sh under the root folder under the root. And the people who wrote this tutorial didn't know what account you'd be using when you use the tutorial. So it might not be one that's got permissions to operate in there. So we proceeded with sudo. So we're going to sudo nano and a file called scanvirus.sh. sh because it's going to be a bash shell, a shell script. Now the tutorial goes step by step with a few lines to create. And you can follow those step by step. In fact, you have to. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the entire script rather than follow the whole line by line thing. Okay, good. That worked out right. So the first line tells us that this is a bash script. It tells the bash script reader program that it is. It's going to generate a log. So say you're going to make a log in var whack log, like clam AV and so forth. And I'm a little concerned that we don't have a sudo in there, but cron usually runs at sudo privileges, so we shouldn't have to. Notice that it uses variables that are available in the bash scripting environment. It's going to create a file name for the log called clamav dash, and then a date in the form of year, month, and date. So we're going to run this once a day at some point. And then he's actually going to run clam scan recursively on some directory. You got to specify what directory you're going to do here, where you're going to scan, and what account name you're going to use to run clam scan. So let's say $ whack. Oh wait, drushtx. Then we did that already. We're good. We're good. Okay, so then we save it. Control X. You want to save it? Yes. What do you want to call it? Just what I said when I started this. Good. We didn't get an error message, so we were successful at writing this scan thing. Now, the next thing we've got to do that they missed is make it an executable script. So we're going to chmod it +X, and then the name of the file, whack root, whack scanvirus.sh. Oops. Okay, I didn't have permission there. All right, the script is created. I could go and run that right now. I could just type in sudo whack root whack scanvirus, enter. But the whole point here is that we want to automate this process, right? So what we're going to do down there is to create an entry in the cron configuration file. And the editor for that is specific. It's called Crontab. And we have to tell it we want to edit a file. So we're going to sudo, oops. Oh, that's how that happened. Oh man, see what kind of horribleness I've done there. That's good. Sorry, I mangled a note in my file, so it's fixed. Had nothing to do with what you were doing. I just didn't want to mess up the original when I went to save these later. All right, so anyway, I'm going to sudo crontab -E. Going to edit. Oh, fine. I'll use nano. All right, there's my handy dandy Crontab. There's nothing scheduled in here. This is original, it's default. So all I got to do is add an entry in here. Let's do it the way they like it. And the line we're going to run here is this cryptic looking entry 0, 0, star, star, star is cron code for daily or on reboot. So every day, I want you to run a bash script and pass this file into it. That's all there is to it. Let me go see one other thing here just to make sure I'm not missing. And the 0, 0, that's time midnight. So daily, midnight, and then we don't have to specify days, weeks, months, years, anything like that. So we'll save this just like we saved our other file. Control X. Yes. And notice where it saves the Crontab file here. It's over in crontab.jc URIR. We don't care about that. It just does. And that's it. I'm done. I don't have to do anything else. Cron is running all the time. It's scanning this cron file. And when he scans it at midnight, he's going to find that and he's going to run this thing. Anything else that I need to do there? No. So that is clam AV. Primary command is clam scan. There's a whole bunch of other things that we can do with clam scan. This was just enough to get you started. You saw that when we did clam scan space minus help. There's tons and tons and tons of stuff in there. So it was a quick thing today. We saw the beginnings of Crontab. We created a cron job by updating the configuration file in Crontab, slick. And let me unshare this. I'm done with that. And that completes the lesson. So let's go back and see what everybody's been talking about. Everybody's talking at me. I don't hear a word they're saying. You didn't ask for a song, did you? Okay, we put this up. Got to get everything back up and cooking. All right, I can now see everything I want to see. Oh, I got to refresh this. You don't care about that. As you know, sometimes when I do these long shares, YouTube gets way behind. That was weird. Okay, I think it came up. I'm going to refresh that one more time just because I didn't see it happen. All right, looking back in the chat. Ooh, lots of stuff happened while I was gone. Hey, Raymond Quick turned almost forgot about drama this week again. Raymond, I have your notes and I have not had a chance to play with it. You missed it. I have had a murderously busy 2 weeks. I finished my big project late last night. So Scott, if you're listening, I'm ready for new project on Monday. If Janelle doesn't dump another one of those on me. And that'll give me a chance to play and to start prepping for a fun show next week. I'm planning on one of the two fun ones we've talked about, Minecraft or RetroPie. We'll see which goes. Your computers must run slow. Yeah, well. Okay, Scott posted the Clam AV site and the tutorial site over at 258 and 9. And how to update the signatures at 316. I don't think I have anything else. No, I have nothing else that I missed for posting up. I'll redo the announcement in a little bit. I'll redo contact information and I'll redo the special. Andrew, that was weird. I saw that as Andrew at first. I thought it was you sending an @ to yourself. What happens if you send an @ to yourself? Try that, somebody. Just declared, the Dutch declared war on me. Wasn't me. Skipping that war. Okay, you're listening. Thank you very much, Scott. All right, well, I'm caught up then on questiones. If we have to, we'll wind up a little bit early. I'm going to put up 3 of the announcements and posts real quick and reshare them. If you are not watching me live, if you would like to communicate with me and it's not practical, it's not fun, you don't want to, you got a hood on, you can always send me an email. You can send Scott an email. You can send an email to Mike Myers if you like. He will probably answer. He'll save it, maybe answer it on a show, or if it's necessary, he'll answer you directly. So we all work for Total Seminars. Our website is Total Sem. Hey, by the way, Andrew Hutz is Andrew H. If you want to communicate with him offline. There you go, Andrew. That's the penalty for plugging your blog. So you can email me, daveR@totalsem.com, drushtx at Yahoo. You can email Scott J at TotalSem, or Michael M at totalsem.com if you want to talk to Mike. If I do that, will that share? I'm not sure. So let me close it and do it individually, manually. It probably does, but just in case. So there's the Discord links that I posted. Scott posted another one earlier. If you want to repost that, it was different than mine, Scott. By all means, post a Discord link. We'll be on Discord after the show today. I'll be down there about 15 minutes after we shut down. And join us with mics and cameras if you got them, and we can get face to face and have some fun conversations. We usually do that. We get anywhere between 6 and 12 people usually on Fridays doing cameras. But if not, hey, come in over there, join us anyways. We're watching you as you text. We can respond to you. You'll be able to hear us. You'll be able to see us. We can do it in mime or interpretive dance. And then the one final thing, I'm going to take this on faith that it shows up. Announcement. We are holding an online costume fancy dress party after the AMA. Okay, Scott posted. Nope, he didn't. That's a different message. After the AMA, after drama on October 29th, that's a Friday. It'll start right after the show, 15 minutes after our usual finish up time, 4 o'clock local time, and run for an hour. Turn up in costume. You don't have to keep it on for the whole thing, but long enough for me to see it. I'll be there for an hour. And at the end of the hour, I'm going to announce 3 winners for best costumes, most creative costume, whatever I feel like. It's totally subjective. I haven't created any criteria yet, and you won't know my criteria. It's just the ones that I love or that make me laugh the most or whatever. We're just going to amuse Dave. And I'll pick 3 winners, and I'll have 3 fabulous prizes. I don't know what the 3rd and 2nd place prizes are, but we did get a approval from Dudley to provide a new Raspberry Pi 4 kit. It'll be a 2 or a 4 gig, whatever the budget supports. And you have another Raspberry Pi to play with, or if you don't have one yet, you'll do it. I'll do updated announcements during these shows. I'll do updates on LinkedIn. If you haven't linked in with me, LinkedIn. I'm Dave Rush. I'm easy to find on LinkedIn. Just send me an invite and I will link with you in the great link. And hopefully Scott and Mike and certainly Andrew will be able to join us, and maybe we'll drag a couple of other folks if they're interested in it. They can't win prizes. And, we don't get a ton of people who show up with cameras and mics. So start working on that. You got 4 or 5 weeks to do that. Join Discord before that day, so you don't have to try and get in for the first time right then and get it all figured out. Join this week with that link Scott's put up or that I've put up. And that way, when comes time, you'll just click on and be ready to rock and roll. It's going to be fun. No, Tullowit, not Belgian. It's Belgie. One of my favorite movies. One of my kids' favorite movies as well. I'm not a Frenchie. I'm a Belgie. Nobody came up with my my reference. Good morning. Zach would have gotten it. Whoever the other Brit that we've had turning up lately, he would have gotten it. Hint: it has British roots. And this one, I'm not a Frenchie, I'm a Belgie. That's a movie with American roots. I'll answer eventually, Scott. Okay, Scott posted the Discord links one final time at 3:31. Okay. All right, things are drying up. We only got a dozen people hanging out right now. We got Hoodie's thumbs down. Hoodie, man, join up. Become become one of us again. We miss you. And we want to help. All right, am I done here? Yep, fine. I will wind things up. I've done my closing thoughts. Let me prep a couple of things here and check one last question source. That's a good thing to have. Oh my gosh, that just exploded. All the messages that you post get queued up in the YouTube management screen. So when I went over there, they all scrolled up for the last hour and a half. I needed one other thing that I had to put up on my notes in front of me. Oh yeah, this. So next week's show is going to be something interesting. It's not going to be anything very CompTIA oriented. It's just going to be raw fun because we haven't done raw fun in a while. So I'm thinking RetroPie, I'm thinking Minecraft server. Everything is subject to change because those are very complicated to do when it comes to presenting them and sharing screens. If I can't get them next week, I will work diligently to get them done as fast as humanly possible. They will always be my top priority until we get at least one of them presented. And I think most of you are more interested in RetroPie. I'll have to do a little break after we do one and get CompTIA oriented again, because that's what we do here, right? And that's kind of what Mike expects from me to do. And then we've got lots of other good projects coming up, including the other one, cron jobs now that we've got to add up. Mike's doing his normal show on Monday. I don't think he's planning on doing a feature special on Monday, but he did ask me to give him a reminder of a show that he wanted to do. And he did, I did, and he got excited again. So at some point he's going to do something on how to take a CompTIA exam, advice, what things to do in what order, how to deal with the multiple choice questions, things like that. And I don't know if he's going to do that as an AMA feature presentation or if he's going to do a dedicated video, but look forward to that. That's going to be a good one, and it's going to be online for a very long time. I was talking to somebody, one of you guys, on Discord the other day. I don't think the person I was talking to was here unless he has a different Discord name than his YouTube name, but maybe it was Jason. Yes, it was Jason. Sorry, it was Jason. He has an interesting story to tell, and I'd like to get him and Mike hooked up and get this story spread. But he talks about two different experiences testing with CompTIA. One was at the center, and then the other was home-based testing. Mostly we hear neutral or generally positive things about home-based testing, but we hear every now and again stories that say, ooh, I wish that hadn't happened. And Jason's got one of those. I won't steal your thunder by stealing it. All right, a few more things popped up just before we close down. What is this? Yes, thank you all for participating. Andrew Harding, I would have participated more, but I'm in Costco. Priorities, man. RetroPie. I know Jason wants to do RetroPie, and a lot of other people do. Andre wants to do RetroPie. Okay, I will. Priority number one, RetroPie in a week. And I'll tell you what, if I can't get it to show you all the screens real time while they're happening, then we'll just look at the steps necessary to do it, and I'll describe what's happening. And as long as you can follow the steps, you'll be able to see it on your own machines, right? All right. Well, we're done for the day then. We're done for the week. I am Dave Rush. I'm the senior instructor at Total Seminars, resident Pi specialist. I wish you a great weekend. Please take care of each other. Take serious steps to stay healthy. Call or visit your parents, and the same for the rest of your family. And don't forget, technology is great, but the greatest resource we have are you and I. Good night. I'll see you on Discord in about 15 minutes. I'll see you on the AMAs next week. And until that happens, I am out of here.